Hi everyone, welcome to Advective Weather. Hope everyone is doing okay this afternoon. Let's get straight into the news. We have a confirmed tornado on the ground that is confirmed over Greenwood or in the Indianapolis metro area. I decided to go live here since this is a confirmed tornado warning in a populated area. So this is very, very important for everyone to take their tornado precautions now. So that includes going into the most interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building, avoid windows, and if you don't have a basement, go into your interior room such as a closet or a hallway. If you do not have, or if you're in a mobile home or in a manufactured home, abandon that and go into more substantial shelter. Mobile homes are very dangerous to be in these severe weather events. We have other tornado warnings that I'm going to cover real quick, but I'm going to get straight back into Greenwood real quick. So we have a tornado warning for the Bloomington area in Indiana. Not only is a tornado is a potential threat with this storm, but a lot of hail. A lot of these storms are hail producers, especially with baseball-sized hail and whatnot. And don't forget another tornado warning for the Crane area. This is radar indicated, same with the Bloomington storm. And as we go up the line, there's another tornado warning that's going to be in effect for the Noblesville and Anderson areas, or at least soon to be. This one's radar indicated as well. And then another tornado warning that is westward of the Fort Wayne area. Let's get back to the main attraction here, which is this. You can pretty much see the debris ball on radar. You can pretty much see that this thing is pretty much on the ground. So this tornado is located west-northwest of New Whiteland. So if you're in portions of New Whiteland, if you're in portions of Interstate 65 traveling anywhere, if you're on Highway 31, if you're in any of these areas that sound familiar to you, south of the Greenwood immediate area, anyone in that polygon should be in their tornado precautions. No one should be driving on Interstate 65 in either direction. There is a tornado that is on the way. Based on this debris ball reading, looks like the tornado is currently is going to head towards New Whiteland, pretty much over the New Whiteland community. I believe it's headed towards an southeastern direction, and I believe it is moving at 40 miles per hour. So again, nobody should be driving along Interstate 65 right now, and this is a very dangerous situation. At least the hook echo looks a little weakened. However, this is also something to pay attention to. You can see another hook that's forming on the backside of the Crane storm. We have a little bit of shear, about 60 mile per hour shear, not terrible. I think this is more broad rotation that's starting to form on the backside of the storm. Something to pay attention to. So definitely if you're in the Crane area and portions south of Interstate 69, get in your tornado shelters immediately. Anyone in this polygon, but especially folks near Crane. We're going to stay on this storm near Greenwood for the time being. I believe we've gotten reports of damage in the area, but I'm going to wait until they're officially confirmed before I officially start transmitting them. Just going to keep looking around these storms, see if there's anything else to pay attention to. Because I think we have 5 or 4 tornado warnings in effect currently. This one looks like it's about to expire the next 2 minutes, this North Manchester storm, so this will hopefully be something to get off of our radar. I believe it's nothing really to look at. The most storms I'm really paying attention to is this storm right here at our Greenwood, and this storm at a Crane. Regarding this new Whiteland storm, I don't believe it's still on the ground, but I'm just a meteorologist in training. So don't take my word for it. Listen to the National Weather Service. They still say it's on the ground, so you still go to your tornado shelter. Again, this is going through a populated area. I believe this storm is going to be over I-65, south of Indianapolis, near Greenwood, and east of New Whiteland. Let's take a look at the other storms. We can see that the Bloomington metro area is under a tornado warning as well. This storm has a history of producing a lot of heavy hail. These storms are a lot of not only tornado threat, but a hail threat. So anywhere in this general area on State Road 45 near Unionville, anywhere in that general area, you're going to get a lot of hail. So get into your interior shelters now. This storm is no joke. A lot of these storms today are going to be a lot of hail producers. So not only hail producers, but it could be the... Oh yes, the title is wrong. Thank you, Raymond, for catching that. Give me one brief second to change that, folks. But yes, the title is wrong. You're correct, Raymond. Thank you very much. Please give me one moment. Alma the Tired One, how did that storm go? Hope you're safe. I believe the title was updated for Be on the Fly. Whoever did that, thank you. Looks like this North Manchester storm, that tornado warning was allowed to expire. I don't believe that there's a tornado remaining on the ground here, at least in this general area. The National Weather Service is still maintaining that observe tag, though. And we're going to act like there's a tornado on the ground with this storm. I'm going to sound like a broken record over and over again by saying your tornado instructions. Going into the most interior room, the most lowest floor of your building, such as a basement, a storm cellar, any of the sort. That'll work as long as it's below ground. If you don't have that, go into an interior closet or a pantry, anywhere that doesn't have any windows, folks. Windows is the worst place you can be near during a tornado warning. If you're in a car, abandon that and get into more substantial shelter. A good last resort would be a ditch or a ravine. We're just going to take a look at the general area. We have a lot of severe thunderstorm warnings in effect around the area. Raymond is mentioning New Jersey, at least in the New Jersey territory. Looks like a lot of these storms, at least stragglers, are going to be just straggling severe thunderstorms. Nothing too crazy. Let's think of the one that Raymond is mentioning. Little stragglers here and there. Might produce some small hail. Nothing too crazy. Heavy downpours, maybe some brief wind. get indoors if you're in that area. But we're going to get back to the main attention here. Looks like this tornado is still on the ground, though. At least confirmed by the National Weather Service, it is still on the ground. So we're going to get right back to the storm. We can see that the National Weather Service has maintained the observe tag. It is 8 miles east of Greenwood, moving east at 40 miles per hour. And I'm going to maintain over and over again that this is in a populated area. This is not one of those Kansas storms, the photogenic ones that are over open country, mainly away from people. This is a more general populated area. It's very important, folks. If you're in Needham, if you're in Shelbyville, if you're near the Red Mills, Fairland, if you're anywhere along Interstate 74, at least in that general area, take your tornado precautions. I'm going to say this over and over again. Nobody should be driving along on the highways right now, at least in the tornado warning. We can see that the tornado is going to be more than likely northeast of the Needham area. Near the Bogstown area, I would say. I'd say along Whiteland Road. Does that sound familiar to you? Eastward of town. Eastward of town. That's where I'm going to say where the tornado is more than likely going to be. If you're in Shelbyville, you should already have been in your tornado precautions. Anywhere along Interstate 74, anywhere along State Route 9. Look like we can see it pretty ball on radar. I'm not entirely sure. But the National Weather Service is still maintaining that observe tag. We're going to take a look at other storms because they are starting to rotate as well. Just the one near Crane. That one near Crane is starting to ramp up a little bit. You can see that hook is starting to form on the back side of it. Same with this one. Just a little hook. Take a look at the bean shape. That is a shape that you do not want to see on these severe thunderstorms. And most notably on this Greenham storm, we can just see around here, I believe that's a debris ball. And that's where I believe more than likely the tornado is going to be with this cell. We can see that. So anywhere parts of Shelbyville north on State Route 9 and 74, at least north sections of Shelbyville especially, but anywhere in Shelbyville should be taking their tornado precautions. Any new folks joining in, we have an observed tornado warning that is near the southeast Indianapolis metro area. This tornado is moving east-southeast around 40 miles per hour. This is a strengthening thunderstorm. I believe in the last warning they were warning about half-dollar sized hail, and now they're warning about golf ball sized hail. So this is a developing storm. This is something to keep out for. This is something to keep out watch for, especially in the Shelbyville area. This is very, very important because there's definitely still a tornado on the ground with the cell. I believe we have a new observed tornado warning for this Crane storm. Excuse me. And a lot of these thunderstorms that are starting to fire up are looking pretty conducive for tornadoes, or at least looking likely to drop down a tornado at any time. We have a confirmed tornado warning that is east of the Crane area. I believe this tornado is going to be somewhere in this general area. at least in that general area, at least south of the polygon. And I believe it is headed towards the Bedford area. So I believe this kind of area is kind of rural, although anyone in this general area east of Crane and anywhere folks south of Interstate 69 should be in their tornado precautions, because there is a tornado on the ground here. Although Bedford, you're not in a tornado warning. This is a more general populated area. I would say start eyeing that tornado shelter. Start eyeing it. Start keeping it in the back of your mind in case this tornado is still on the ground by the time you get there. Because I'm not saying it will, but I'm saying it might. So we're going to get back to this storm because we have a lot of tornadoes that are going to start to form soon, I believe. Not to promise anything, of course. I still believe that there's a tornado warning, a tornado on the ground. Parents is definitely deceiving. So anywhere in the Shelbyville area, anywhere in the I-74 corridor, in the tornado warning, should be in their tornado precautions. No one should be driving along this area whatsoever. And that is not the only tornado that is on the ground here. So if you're anywhere on Interstate 69 here, I believe you'll be okay for the time being. You shouldn't be driving because you should be at home, but I'm not going to tell you what to do. This is mainly going to be for Interstate 69 and portions southeast and eastward. Just taking a look at the general area in case I missed any severe thunderstorms. But I believe the general threat right now is Indiana with these tornado warnings. And the tornadoes on the ground, of course. Anywhere in Shelbyville, northward, should be in their tornado precautions. Should be taking their tornado precautions immediately. I'm going to be saying this over and over again, folks. So that includes an underground shelter, such as a basement. That includes a storm cellar of any kind, away from windows. I would hide underneath the stairs or anywhere that is most interior in that lower level shelter. If you don't have a lower ground shelter, I would advise getting into a closet or a bathroom, at least anywhere that is the most interior part of the house that has no windows, because that is the safest part of your home currently. If you do not have one, if you're in a car, get to more substantial shelter if you can. If you can't, get to one. The best resort is a ditch, a culvert, or a ravine. Be careful for running water, of course, because that is always a threat with these severe thunderstorms. Heavy rain and flash flooding can also be a concern. We also have another tornado on the ground here that is outside of the southeast Indianapolis area. We can pretty much see the hook echo on radar. I believe that is one. I've said this earlier, if anyone folks of Bedford believe that tornado is going to release this tornadic part of the thunderstorm, might be headed towards your neighborhood. So anyone in that general vicinity, keep watch. Because you're not on a warning yet, but it is headed towards your neighborhood, so please be careful here. We can see that this one might be conducive for some development at any time. We can see another hook echo on radar. And I can see that we have a lot of shear. I would not be surprised if this is a tornado on the ground. That shear is impressive. I'm not sure how this isn't tornado confirmed, but I don't think we have any eyes on it. But I'm going to assume here that there is a tornado on the ground here, at least in this general area. parts of Rusk near Yen, I believe that's how you pronounce it, portions of French Lick. Anywhere, I believe French Lick is a tourist attraction in Indiana. So anywhere near French Lick westward, I believe that there's a tornado on the ground. Although that this isn't officially an observed tag by the National Weather Service, given the sheer, I mean, shoot, we have a lot of sheer present here. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a tornado on the ground here. So I believe that we only have 1, 2, but 3 possible tornadoes on the ground here. At least not for now. At least the National Weather Service downgraded this previous Greenwood storm to a radar indicated threat. It looks like it is not on the ground currently, but we should still treat it like there's a tornado on the ground. This could be a classic recycle. It could be, you know, appearances could be deceiving, you know what I mean? So not only will tornadoes and hail will be a threat, but heavy rain too. We shouldn't scoff at just the rain threat. Excuse me. Still have a reason to believe that there is a tornado on the ground here, west of Bedford. We're going to keep maintaining that tag, confirmed tag. And I'm also going to maintain that there's a tornado on the ground here. That radar return looks like a chicken. You know, sometimes it is good to keep a keen eye and keep an eye on patterns, in case, you know, to help you in meteorology. We kind of say it looks like a bean. So it's good to kind of make these comparisons to kind of help. So I believe this is your general area for your tornado warnings here. Would not be surprised if this is a tornado on the ground headed towards French Lick. I mean, it's just a straight shot straight towards French Lick. I believe I've said this earlier, it is a tourist attraction in Indiana. I don't live there, but excuse me, we're gonna treat it like there's a tornado on the ground here. I mean, I'm looking at these impressive shear returns. I mean, look at that, 165 mile per hour return. I mean, that's insane. We're going to treat it like there's a tornado on the ground here. There is at least good rotation in this storm. So if there's not a tornado on the ground, there is at least one going to form at any time. So French Lick, you're under the gun for not only a potential tornado on the ground, but lots of heavy rain and potential large hail. I believe they extended that tornado warning eastward of the Bloomington area. But not only tornadoes are going to be the threat here, but baseball-sized hail according to this tornado warning. So anywhere near Pikes Peak, not in Colorado, but in Indiana, Nashville, Indiana, and portions west of Columbus, Indiana, there's baseball-sized hail headed your way. I believe that is home to the Cummins factory, or at least the Cummins headquarters, so that is a generally populated area. So anywhere near Columbus, Indiana, I would get into interior building now, or at least your tornado precautions. Although that there's not a tornado warning in effect for Columbus, there is a big hefty thunderstorm headed your way, capable of producing some pretty large hail. Could make your insurance company not very happy, so I don't think you want to do that. So I would take your precautions for that in the Columbus, Indiana area. I believe the National Weather Service dropped all of the confirmed tags, but I'm still going to watch this French Lick storm. I'm very concerned about it right now. We don't know that there's a tornado on the ground, but we're going to absolutely treat it like there is one on the ground here. So French Lick, portions west and eastward of French Lick. This tornado warned storm is moving, I believe, to the east-southeast kind of direction. So it is going to be approaching French Lick from the northwest moving east-southeastward. Believe it is a kind of a trajectory towards the Louisville kind of area, but we're not going to make any assumptions yet. Anyone in Louisville, kind of keep in mind that these line of storms could be headed your way within the next few hours. Not only that, folks in Cincinnati, folks in Louisville, folks in Lexington, this line might congeal into a line kind of later in the evening, but I believe in Louisville and points westward, I believe that there's going to be supercells that kind of form, which the main threat is going to be kind of tornadoes, kind of your typical supercellular threats. So something to keep in mind while this severe outbreak is currently ongoing. I'm just going to take a look at the correlation coefficient. It's hard to tell. It's really, really hard to tell if there's really anything. It's hard to really discern anything from your correlation coefficient here. So it's hard to say. It's hard to really make a good conclusion to see if there's an actual tornado on the ground based on this return. But I'm very worried about French Lick here. So not only French Lick, but Greenbrier, at least the smaller communities in and around that area. Just going to take a look at our other storms. The Shelbyville storm is going to be in effect for another 10 minutes, but I would not be surprised if the National Weather Service would extend that warning towards Rushville and portions north of Greensburg, Indiana. At least around the Highway 52 area. We got a couple tornado warnings going to expire in 10 minutes. At least it'll clear up our plate to make it more manageable. But I'm still looking at French Lick though. You can just take a look at that return if you're not. It's not as significant as before. I would say about 143 mile per hour shear. So if there's not a tornado warning on the ground, this thing is about to. So anywhere near French Lick, again, it is a tourist area. This is a tourist attraction. Again, apologize. But anywhere near French Lick, I do believe that there's a tornado on the ground. Although that the National Weather Service has not put out that observe tag, I'm still going to treat it like one. And folks in that polygon is still going to treat it like there's a tornado on the ground. Again, it's really hard to kind of make a return here. It's kind of hard to tell. I'm just going to go with my gut. And anywhere in these warnings should be in their tornado shelters anyway. So there should be no gut feeling here besides from me. Although that this tornado warning in Shelbyville looks like it is going to expire at 8 minutes, would not be surprised if they continued it, or at least for a little bit longer. Just keep that in mind. I believe the National Weather Service is just going to let this Bloomington, at least this eastern Bloomington, Indiana storm tornado warning expire. I believe the main threat here is just going to be baseball-sized hail and your typical wind gusts. So portions of Columbus, Indiana, you guys are under the radar for a severe thunderstorm with large hail and damaging winds. This is a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. Those don't get issued very often. These are severe thunderstorm warnings that get issued via the emergency alert system. These are not very typical. So this is to show how severe the situation is. So this is capable of producing a lot of damage. So although that this tornado warning is about to expire, this is still a strong storm. This is something to not scoff at. And a lot of these storms are nothing to scoff at as well. These are going to be capable hail producers. I genuinely believe it. Still going to take a look at French Lick here. We can see that the wind here is just impressive here. The rotation is very impressive. It's not as impressive as earlier, though. Definitely not as impressive. At least we have a few tornado warnings are about to expire to at least get our plate clear. At least to make it more manageable. Looks like we have a new tornado warning for northern Alabama, of all places. Eastern Coleman. Believe this is your storm in question. Moving southeast at 25 miles per hour. This is your storm in question. Or 15. Pardon me. So you can see this rotation is west of Baileyton, and this is going to be near Birdsong and Fairview, at least in that general area. Here's a rotation right there. So they're not maintaining that there is a tornado on the ground here, but there is a chance for a tornado. Don't even try to go outside and look at this thing. This is Alabama. Y'all should know that. It's not going to be possible to see it. So take your tornado precautions immediately if you're in the Baileyton, Alabama area. Westward of, or at least points near Highway 231 westward is going to be where the immediate threat is. This storm is moving to your southeast at a relatively slow speed. So anyone in your polygon, take your tornado precautions. We're going to get back to our main threat, and we're going to just keep an eye on the Alabama threat, at least for the time being, but we're not going to pay attention to that right now. We're going to pay attention to the main theater. The main point of attraction here is the Indiana storms. We can see that we have one, I believe we have 2, 3, 4, 5 tornado warnings ongoing currently. So folks near French Lick and southward, we're just going to go southward north with these cells. We're going to start with the French Lick storm. I do believe that there is possibly a tornado on the ground here, or at least there is one imminent. This is a tourist attraction, so y'all should have been in your taking your tornado precautions long ago. Should have been a while ago. So y'all should still be in that tornado safe spot. We're going to head towards the Bedford storm. This thing is looking like to expire in the next few minutes. It doesn't look as impressive as it did earlier, but we're going to see if they continue it. But again, it doesn't look as impressive as earlier. I would say hail here is your big threat, for sure. Looks like they're maintaining a $50 size hail threat, at least for the Bedford, Indiana area. We're going to look at this other tornado warning for Monroe, Brown, Lawrence, and Jackson counties. Looks like they did just update that. It looks like it is weakening a little bit, but again, a lot of these cells are kind of just congealing into one. So this one and this one is kind of merging together. Not only that, a lot of these are going to just merge together later on. So we'll just see how they interact with each other and just kind of interact with this atmosphere. We got 3 minutes left on this tornado warning. I believe they're just going to let it expire. They looked like they're just going to continue a severe thunderstorm warning for points east of Shelbyville. So I give it another 2 minutes for Shelbyville and points east. If you're in Shelbyville, you're in the all clear, or at least Shelbyville and points west. But eastern Shelbyville, I'll give it a couple more minutes, at least until the tornado warning fully expires here. We got a couple more minutes. Is 2 minutes really going to make or break your day? Anywho, we got another tornado warning that's going to expire in 2 minutes. Although hail is going to be the big threat here. Oh, looks like this thing is weakening significantly. So not as strong as it's looking earlier. I believe this southern cell that's going to be east of Guthrie is kind of just sucking in. I'm not completely sure. Whether case, this Columbus storm is not as impressive. We got 2 minutes on these 2 tornado warnings here. We got 32 on this tornado warned storm for Monroe, Brown, Lawrence, and Jackson counties. We can see that this rotation is kind of broad, nothing too crazy, but we can still see that there's a hook still trying to form, so something to kind of keep an eye on for the time being. We got 1 more minute on a couple of these tornado warnings. We'll just see the radar kind of just clear of your red. Just gotta patiently wait. It's not as impressive here over at French Lick. I'm still gonna keep maintaining being your tornado precautions, at least being your tornado shelter. Most important part right now. I believe it is now 4 o'clock, and I believe they just let those tornado warnings expire. So that is definitely good news. We have a few tornado warnings out. Gives us more to digest. Lucky, lucky us. So we have still 2 tornado warnings in effect for the general area, or at least we have 3. We're just going to keep an eye on this cell right here. Looks like there's still a rotation here. This is still going to be near the Brooklyn, New Hope, Alabama area. Although there's not an official tornado on the ground here, at least folks near Holly Pond and points north, I would still maintain your tornado precautions. So Holly Pond, points north. We're not going to forget about you, east parts of, or at least northern parts of Alabama. We're just going to get back to Indiana. Again, we will not forget you. At least now we have 3 tornado warnings. One that is portions southeast of French Lick, Indiana. It's not as impressive as it was earlier, but we're still going to maintain that tornado safe place in French Lick and points east and near Paoli and Stampers Creek. If you're near the Norman, Indiana area, I would still maintain your tornado precautions. And now, what are these tornado precautions? I keep saying them over and over again. What are they? That includes being in the most interior room on the lowest floor of a sturdy building. And that includes a basement. That includes a storm cellar. Anywhere that is underground. That'll protect you from the elements. Anywhere away from windows, of course. If you don't have an underground shelter, that includes a closet or a bathroom that is away from windows. If you're in a car, try to make it to a more substantial shelter. If not, a last resort that is pretty good is a ravine, a culvert, or a ditch. That radar in return near Paoli is looking still kind of impressive, but it's still not as impressive as it was earlier. I will admit it. Still, don't let my commentary sway you from deciding to get out of your tornado shelters, at least portions east of French Lick and near Paoli, Indiana. Going to take a look at this other storm now. Rotation's still there. I'd say right here is where your rotation is. Kind of aligns to where everything is. I would say at least for this tornado warning for Monroe, Brown, Lawrence, and Jackson counties, I would say that there's still good rotation in there, at least nothing to really say that there's tornado on the ground. And Cragwolf. Still maintain your tornado precautions. Now let's kind of zoom out and kind of evaluate the area and kind of just see what we have in store for the rest of the day. So not only will tornadoes be the big threat here, but it will be large hail and damaging winds. So I believe for Indiana, is going to be the most risk for the tornado threat, at least portions east of the Indianapolis metropolitan area and portions south and eastward. And that's going to be where your tornado threat is going to be. Your hail threat is going to be concentrated still in your central and eastern Indiana and also your northern Arkansas area, which is going to be where the hail is going to be the biggest threat. And now let's kind of transition to where the hail threat is, because let's not forget our neighbors there too. If I can get a good return. Let's try Memphis. Little Rock is down, unfortunately, so I can either only get Fort Smith, Springfield, and Memphis, nowhere close. So it's really hard to tell where these storms are, as it's going through kind of a radar hole. But I would say portions near Mountain View and east, you're going to be under the gun for some destructive hail. This is a destructive severe thunderstorm warning, so like I said earlier, this isn't like your normal severe thunderstorm warning. I'm going to highlight the EAS activation requested here. That means that this is something that gets sent to not only your television and radio, but your phone. This is an alert that you would get, let's say, during a tornado warning. It'll say tornado warning in effect for your area. It'll say a destructive severe thunderstorm warning. So at least most phone companies now have a program, or at least some way for you to get severe thunderstorm warnings, at least destructive ones. So that is a handy feature to have. So northern Arkansas points north of Little Rock towards the Ozarks and points east. These is going to be where your biggest hail threat's going to be. So anywhere points near Mountain View and points east near Batesville and Southside, you're going to be under the gun for large hail. It's moving east at 35 miles per hour. So for Mountain View and Allison, so Mountain View is going to be under the gun for large hail. So try to get your vehicles indoors if you haven't already, or at least in a garage. Expect some property damage here with these big ice balls coming out of the sky. This tornado warning near Coleman, at least east of the Coleman, Alabama area, is going to expire in the next 9 minutes. So at least for that general area, we got 9 minutes left. So that's a little bit of time. Nothing too crazy. Again, it is not as strong as it was earlier. You can just see. Not as strong as earlier. I'm not as convinced. I believe they're still going to maintain a severe thunderstorm warning. So we're just going to see how this tornado warning does fare by I believe it's the Birmingham National Weather Service. Or Huntsville, excuse me. We also have a line of storms that's going to be north of the Atlanta metro area. Let's see where these severe thunders. It's going to be headed towards the Atlanta metro area. So at least later on within the next few hours, I would pay attention. At least folks near Atlanta, you might have a line that's going to be kind of headed towards your way. So kind of keep in mind that whenever you kind of head home from your Sunday activities tonight. Looks like we have a new tornado warning that's going to extend into North Seymour, Indiana. We can see that there's still a rotation here. Points east of Norman and near Kurtz, Indiana. we can see that, yep, there's still going to be a hook here. Here, give me one moment. Yes, here's that hook here. At least there's a hook trying to form. So anywhere near Kurtz, anywhere near Clear Spring, anywhere near Brownstown, Seymour, this is going to be near your more populated area. So although it's going to be kind of near rural area, it's going to move towards more populated areas. What type of bad weather is happening right now? Thank you, Robin, for asking. All of it. We got pretty much a mixed bag for today. Depends where you are, really. We got not only a tornado threat, but we got hail and damaging winds. I would say your biggest threat is going to be the tornado threat, at least for portions near Indiana, and your hail threat, which is going to be near Indiana and Arkansas. That's going to be where I would pay attention most today. But not only that, heavy rain. Just going to take a look at this other tornado warning. Looks like it'll expire in 6 minutes. We'll give it 6 minutes to get on with its day. I would say French Lick, you're in the clear, at least for now. Although you might get flanked, at least north portions of French Lick. You might get skirted by this northern storm, but it probably won't be heavy. Depends where you are in French Lick. Looks like French Lick, you're in the all clear, but if you're in Paoli, I would still remain in your tornado precautions. Take your tornado precautions. At least Paoli and portions southwestward. We also got another tornado warning that's in effect for Jackson County. This thing is going to head towards the Seymour, Indiana area. So I believe this looks like a more populated portion of Indiana. So if you're in the Seymour, Indiana area, take your tornado precautions. Get into the basement or a storm cellar. If not, an interior room or a closet would suffice, such as a pantry or a bathroom. That would be great options too. Anywhere that it's away from windows. We got a few minutes on these two tornado warnings. We might get a couple off of our plate here. We might have one to hyper focus on. One just got smacked off. This one will expire in 4 minutes. We will see what happens there. Apologize for the lack of commentary. Sometimes it is hard to keep talking for long periods of time. Looks like we may only have one tornado warning to worry about for the time being. Let's take a look at this most current one that's headed towards Seymour. Rotation's not the greatest right now. It could change though as time goes on. So this is going to be points near south of Columbus, so kind of portions near I-65 near Seymour, at least that populated area. I don't think they're going to extend this tornado warning here near French Lick. I believe they're just going to let that expire, otherwise they would have just extended it by now. So Paoli, or at least portion southeast Paoli, near Bacon, near Marengo. Give it a few more minutes. The one tornado warning is to look at is Seymour. At least the short bit of activity that we had did die down. So I'm just going to wait for that portion of red to go. That the Alabama tornado warning, excuse me, did expire. So that is great news. I believe they're going to let that French Lick storm expire. So that is good news as well. I believe this storm is also going to head towards the Louisville area. So I would say folks near Louisville, at least near the Indiana-Kentucky border, at least keep in mind that there might be a severe thunderstorm headed towards your way. And yes, they let that tornado warning expire. Although that doesn't mean that all that threat's gone away. It could reproduce again. So just kind of watch. We're just going to keep watch for this one tornado warning, which is for Seymour, Indiana, a more populated area, unfortunately. We're just letting the loop kind of play just to see where the storm might be headed. And I believe it might head towards the heart of town. We can just see it kind of move a east-southeast direction, kind of that way. Or at the very least, kind of that way. Kind of like that. So at least points south of Seymour. So at least that area. But anywhere Seymour should be, and you're taking your tornado precautions immediately. I believe these are our only tornado warnings in effect. Yeah, the Mountain View storm. Let's switch back to Mountain View, because this one's looking way more impressive. So, looks like it's upgraded to 4-inch hail now. So, softball-sized hail. That's insane. So, anywhere near Mountain View, anywhere in that general area in the Ozarks, anywhere west of Batesville, anywhere in that general area in points east of Mountain View, there's a severe thunderstorm warning, that a severe thunderstorm capable of very large hail headed your way. This is insane. 4-inch hail, that's a lot. I'm sure you would have gotten the warning on your phone in that general area. We're going to just take a look at our Discord and just kind of look at apologize for the lack of commentary. I want to be able to show some of our severe weather that's going on around our area right now. Believe we have footage of the Greenwood, Indiana cell. This is your Greenwood storm. That was moments ago in Greenwood. I believe this was Greenwood, Indiana as well, based on the same kind of color and tone. This is pretty much the threat we should expect today in this general area near Indiana. Very, very intense. Looks like this was Crane earlier. So it looks like my gut feeling was right there for Crane, at least before the confirmed tornado warning was in effect. So at least it was good stuff. At least it was good to look at for the time being. Just gonna adjust everything, I apologize. All right. Looks like our only tornado warning right now is the Seymour tornado warning. It'll be in effect for another 25 minutes. Easy. Kind of take a look at the general area just to see if there's any tornado warnings in effect. Lots of severe thunderstorm warnings, though, I will say. Lots of them. I think I brought up Mountain View earlier. 4-inch hail is your threat there, at least points east of Mountain View. I'm not as convinced for this Seymour tornado warning anymore, at least. Could always be recycling, though. Since this is more of a populated area, I would still maintain being in your tornado shelters. Anywhere near Seymour, I-65, no one should be driving. At least it's quiet for now. Lots of hail producers today, I would say. It's hard to say where this Arkansas storm is going. At least it's coming into more Memphis radar territory, so that at least gives me some relief. It's really hard to say concerning this part of Arkansas is not the greatest. Considering Little Rock, the radar is down. So, kind of just have to make an educated guess. Regarding Indiana, though, we still got one tornado warning. We got about 23 minutes left on that. They're still going to maintain it, though. I would say there's still rotation there. I would say where the red and the green meet. Just a lesson for all y'all, those interested in meteorology. Green means towards the radar, and red means away from the radar. So you kind of just get that rotation there. So let me just see where the radar site is, at least for this. Yeah, so you kind of just get that rotation right there. And it's kind of broad, so something to keep an eye on. I wouldn't say that there's a tornado on the ground, at least for right now. But it shouldn't be something to scoff at either. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at our other cells, since we only got one radar indicated tornado warning. We're going to take a look at this other severe thunderstorm warning. That's going to be for Johnson, Van Buren, Conway, and Pope counties in Arkansas, with your main threat being wind and hail. So I would believe that this is a considerable, but it doesn't say. But either who, if you're points north of I-40 in Arkansas and near Russellville and points north, and if you're anywhere near I-40, I believe it's headed right towards I-40, at least east of Russellville. And it looks like they issued a new severe thunderstorm warning with tennis ball size hail with your threat, so no laughing matter with this cell. So at least if you're in Conway, it looks like it's going to head towards the Little Rock metro area, or at least it's going to clip portions westward. So I would say Little Rock, watch out. Within the next few hours, you might get some hail producers headed your way. I wouldn't say for sure they would keep maintaining hail, but just to kind of be on the safe side, I would still assume that they would be. At least soon. Keep an eye out, Little Rock. Still taking a look at the Seymour storm. Looks like it's still broad, but it looks like it's still gonna keep on keeping on. It's still gonna be in effect for the next 20 minutes. Since we're now covering severe thunderstorm warnings, let's take a look. Major damage in Greenwood, Indiana. Homes destroyed, injuries unknown. Yes, that is unfortunate. Yes, earlier, I believe we covered Greenwood. We did have a tornado that did go through portions south of Greenwood, or at least in that general area near the Indianapolis metro area. So this is very, very important to kind of just keep an eye out, kind of just send your prayers towards, if you're in the religious family, or if you're religious of any kind, send your prayers out to folks near Greenwood. It is a very sad situation that's happening out in Greenwood. I'm not sure if we've had any fatalities or injuries. That's kind of unknown at this time, according to KFOX. Thank you for that information, by the way. We very much appreciate that, and we appreciate you kind of keeping watch for Advective weather. So this is kind of to keep in mind the type of environment we have today for Indiana. We have a chance for those spin-up tornadoes there, kind of just make a lot of damage there. At least, and we've seen that in Greenwood today and parts near Crane, Indiana. So yeah, this is very much something to kind of keep an eye on for the rest of the day today, or at least in this general area. Whoops, did not mean to do that. Looks like we have a new severe thunderstorm warning. It's going to be north of the Atlanta metro area. So I'd say folks near Atlanta, I would say expect a line of severe thunderstorms kind of headed your way. Nothing too crazy, nothing like Arkansas or Indiana. I would say gusty winds, 40, 50, maybe 60 mile per hour winds in localized spots. Maybe some small hail if there is any. Heavy rain, of course, is going to be your threat. Kind of keep that in mind, because I know Atlanta is a notoriously busy city. I've been there many times. I have family that live there. So I know what it's like. So if you're in Atlanta, plan your events accordingly with this up-and-coming line of thunderstorms approaching from your north. This is going to be approaching from the north, headed south. So just to kind of give you an idea of which direction it's headed. And we do have severe thunderstorm warnings in association with that line. We just have a lot of storms popping up right now. Kind of keep an eye on the Seymour one. Looks like it's starting to intensify just a tad. We could just see, based on the radar loop, we could just see it kind of just starting to start to intensify a little bit more. So if you were in the Seymour, Indiana area, I would say take your tornado precautions. I would still be in your tornado precautions, I mean. I'm sure Seymour, you're still receiving heavy rain. Heavy rain, maybe some bits of hail. Maybe small hail. But we could pretty much see that it is starting to intensify a little bit. We're just going to keep an eye on Seymour. So it looks like this rotation is going to be near Highway 50, at least if you get into portions southwest of town, near Hangman Crossing. If that sounds familiar to you. At least once it gets out of Seymour, it gets to more rural country, so that makes me feel a little bit better. But we can see that this starting to intensify a little bit. I would say around 70, 80 mile per hour shear. Excuse me. 70 to 80 mile per hour shear. That's not terrible. Nothing to scoff at, but you know, something to kind of keep an eye on as the time goes on. Just gonna keep an eye on these. Looks like we have another storm that's capable of large hail. Let's head it towards the Louisville area. Looks like we have a tornado possible tag with this. We have a history of golf ball to, I think, baseball-sized hail, I believe. Pretty large hail associated with this. That's going to be headed towards the Louisville area. So, although Louisville, you're not under any sort of warning yet, it may look dark towards if you look across the river here in Louisville. If you look across the river, you'll see darkness headed towards the city. That's going to be your severe thunderstorm warning. And it's headed your way towards the city. So I would say watch out, Louisville and portions around the metro. So I would say there's nothing there yet. Don't make any drastic moves yet. But what I would say is to just keep watch. Stay in the know. Keep an eye with Advective weather. Just keep an eye on everything and just stay in the know. Watch your phone and other stuff in case something does occur. And a warning, like a tornado warning, is issued. Looks like we got 13 minutes left with the Seymour storm. Let's switch our radar view. See, it's going to kind of meet right here. Kind of be around this area. So give it another 13 minutes, Seymour. That's going to be where the tornado warning expires, in 13 minutes. So we have a few metros that are going to be in the line for some storms. Nothing too intense. I hope not. We're just going to take a look at the Detroit area, as we may have a few metros in the way. For some reason my radar megas not functioning correctly. Apologies. Let me adjust the view again. Perfect. Looks like within the next several hours, I would say within the evening time, Detroit, there's another line of severe thunderstorms headed towards the area. Kind of the case of Atlanta, I would say around gusty winds, around 50, 60 miles per hour. Small hail of the sort. Yeah, that kind of seems to be the type here. Kind of paying attention to the Seymour storm right now. Is it intensifying a little bit? It looks like it is. Is that a little bit of intensification here? I would say around Interstate 65. We've got 10 minutes. I wouldn't be surprised if they continue this tornado warning here. It looks like it's starting to intensify just a tad. Looks like it's going to avoid Seymour. It's going to affect portions southeast of town. Kind of just looking around the general area. And yes, they did extend that tornado warning beyond Seymour. Looks like it's kind of taking a right, I believe it's a right turn. So it is intensifying a little bit. I do note a little bit of intensification there, and I believe, you know, a little bit of a right turn kind of notates that, so. If you hear the tornado sirens in Mount Vernon, or at least north of Vernon, in the Vernon area, it's not going to be for you. It's going to be portions southwest of town, specifically near Four Corners and Lovett, and especially around Chestnut Ridge and Uniontown and portions around the I-65 corridor. So Vernon, North Vernon, that warning is not for you, although I would still pay attention for localized heavy rain, small hail, and some gusty wind here and there. It'll expire at 6:15 Eastern Time, and I believe it is moving southeast at 40 miles per hour. So kind of an eastern-southeastern direction, nothing crazy. Still going to be that radar indicated threat. It's going to be in effect until 6:15 Eastern Time. And I believe this is our only tornado warning in effect right now. And I believe once you get past Seymour, you're getting into more rural area. So luckily, we got down from not only 5, but we got down from 5 to 1 tornado warning right now. We have this back tornado warning near Seymour that's going to expire in the next little bit. think it was smart for the National Weather Service to maintain that tornado warning for Jackson and Jennings County. Just gotta take a look at our severe thunderstorm warnings here. But yeah, hail is definitely going to be a threat today. I believe this thunderstorm that's going to be headed towards the west side of Little Rock is intensifying a little bit. This is going to be a Russellville storm, at least portions east of Russellville. It's going to be headed southeast, southeast. And it's going to head towards, I believe, the Mayflower, Maumelle, and at least portions westward of the Little Rock area. And the National Weather Service is maintaining a 3-inch hail threat. It was a 2 3/4 inch hail threat before. So this cell near Russellville is intensifying. So something to keep in mind for the Little Rock Metro. Let's kind of pan around the southeastern threat, where we mainly just have a severe thunderstorm warning type threat day, where you're just going to have your localized heavy winds, heavy rain, and your small hail. And with a line of severe thunderstorms headed towards the Atlanta metropolitan area. So I know how busy Atlanta gets, very, very busy. So if you're anywhere near Atlanta, just to kind of keep in mind, there is a line of severe thunderstorms headed your way. We're going to get back to this threat in Indiana. I'm glitched. Let's see how I can fix that. There we go. Not sure what that was. I believe this rotation that is southeast of Seymour here is starting to tighten up with its rotation a little bit. I would rack it around near Staples Ford. That's going to be near where your rotation is the tightest. And luckily, it is our only tornado warning in effect right now. So if you're anywhere east of Interstate 65, near Staples Ford, points east. If you're near Lovett, if you're near Comiskey, if you're near Hilltown, if you're near Walnut Ridge, and the Crossley Fish and Wildlife area towards the southern portion of Vernon. that is going to be where the tornado warning is going to be in effect for. And now, since there is no strong tornado warnings for the area, I am going to end the stream here, at least for the time being. I'm glad to maintain the last couple hours, kind of being on stream, kind of just looking at the severe thunderstorms. And my name was Jake at Advective Weather. You know where to reach us at. Look at our Discord and our YouTube channel for our videos. As always, you have a great rest of your day.